Hey everybody, it's the Alabama Toy Mercs briefing number 1. We're actually live in all 7 continents thanks to Elon Musk and Starlink. So if you got comments, you got questions, throw them at us. That was actually a very good time last week when we were able to do that. So I think this week, Rick suggested it might be a good time to do like a top 10. And we've all been busily getting ready to do that. And I think that's what we're going to do. So what we'll do is go live to the pit with John and see what he's got going on besides whatever it is he's got going on. You good to go, John?
Good, I'm good. Okay, so I was telling you guys I'm reporting from the G.I. Joe headquarters tonight. So yeah, top 10. How should I say it? Playability is based off of the playability and the special features of the vintage G.I. Joe vehicles. So what I've come up with is my top 10, and like I said, I'm sure some people will agree, disagree. That's okay. But to me, I sat back and looked at it like I was that 8, 9, 10-year-old kid again, and what persuaded me to buy certain vehicles and certain things. So that's kind of what I'm going to look at. And I'm going to tell you guys, it was really hard to come up with a top 10 list because there's so many to choose from. And and when I say playability, and I'm not saying my favorite vehicles, the top 10 favorite vehicles, I'm saying the top 10 that has special features and playability. You guys know I love the Night Raven. I love the hydrofoil. The Night Raven's a big plane and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous. I love it, but it don't have a lot of playability to it. It don't have a lot of special features and things. So it's not. It didn't make the list. But you have, and I got a couple of honorable mentions. What I'm talking about is something similar to like this. And I know this is a new version. This is not the original Barracuda that was blue and I think gray or black. But you put baking soda in there, and it would actually submerge, and you could do it and make it come back up, and so that's what I'm talking about, a special feature or something that made it appealing to kids, something out of the ordinary. This didn't make the top 10, but it's still a nifty little idea that Hasbro come up with. So I just kind of wanted to, as an opener and kind of an honorable mention to these and others like them. There's like I said, there's so many. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start out with number 10 and work my way up to number 1. And I got my notes over here so I don't get off track. So my number 10, most playable with special features, would be the G.I. Joe battle platform. And unfortunately, I didn't get to get it out of the box and get it put together. But I do have the box here. And I was kind of hoping to show. The box is in a little bit of rough shape, the box that I got. I don't know if you guys can see it. But what really kind of stood out to me about this, and obviously if you had it close to land, you could put the platform down so that, you could drive the Mobad up on it, or in this case, the Armadillo. If it was out to sea, you could dock the killer whale up next to it. You had a pad for the Skyhawk. You had a working crane. Ladder down to the shark. But the two things that really caught my eye about it was you could actually put it on unlevel terrain because the legs on the thing, the 4 legs, could extend. So you could adjust them to whatever length you needed them to. You could have one leg short and the other 3 long if it was sitting on like a side of a plateau or something. So, you could stack up some books on one side and stack them and, like pretend like it's the ocean floor and adjust the legs. But the other feature that I really thought was neat, and I always wanted to do it, which you can't really sit on the box. Well, yeah, you can. And I don't know how well you guys can see this, but if you had 4 dragonflies, there were hooks on the platform, and you could actually haul it with four dragonflies. unfortunately, as a kid, I only had one dragonfly, so it kind of flew lopsided. You know what I mean? But I thought that, I thought, even as an adult, I'm really considering getting some more dragonflies. I have 2 right now, and I'm thinking about trying to get 2 more and actually hang them from the ceiling and then hang this underneath it like they're carrying it. I always thought that would be an awesome display. So
that would be cool.
So anyway, that was my number 10, because I really, that really stood out to me that you could carry it like that. I thought that was really cool. So number 10, battle platform. Number 9, the Chameleon, Zartan's swamp sled. Okay. And obviously, for obvious reasons, and this is what made me want this, when I saw it in the store, and you guys, you probably remember me telling you, I was at Kmart over in Center, Alabama with my grandmother before she passed away. And I saw this, and she bought it for me that day. And it was like, well, this one's got a price sticker of $7.49, but I'm thinking at Kmart it was like $5.
Yeah.
Back then. And unfortunately, I don't have a box to my original one. I do still have my original sled and my Zartan. But what caught my eye about this was the fact that, like Zartan, it had the special color change feature, sunlight and temperature change effect. So, I thought, man, that's really cool, because you put it out in the sun and it would turn a dark green, just like I think Zartan kind of turned a kind of a bluish green color. Mm-hmm. And then Zartan, of course, had the mask so he could disguise himself as a junk peddler. So it come with a little, container with a rope that you could attach to it and actually put the sleds on there, and you could take it apart and put it in there like he's hauling off junk. So the GI Joes don't recognize it. Guy hauling junk over there, he's no threat to us, right? But yeah, I mean this hit number 9 basically because of the color change feature. And I know there were others. You had the 2 different Sears exclusive sets. You had the I think it was a Dreadnought Swamp Fire that also changed colors. But this one will always be special to me because again it was Zartan's ride. It was the first color change vehicle that they did, and I just thought it was really cool. So that's my number 9 pick. Okay. Number 8. The APC. Right? Now, this actually does a couple of different things. Number 1, it's an amphibious personnel carrier. So the thing actually floats. It told you right on the box. It floats. You can run this off in the swimming pool and it'll float to the other side. I always thought that was really cool. You had a vehicle that was a kind of a tank type vehicle, but it was also a boat. Now, the next thing about it, of course, you had the removable canopy. It could house 2 figures up front. I believe 16 figures down the side, and I believe it was 10 figures in the center standing up. So you could carry like 28 action figures in this thing. So you could pretty much, this come out in 1983. I think I counted it was like 24 G.I. Joes, and that's counting both clutches and both Grand Slams and both grunts. But you could put your whole G.I. Joe team in this one vehicle and transport them. And it had the seat belts to help hold them in to the seats. But what was really great about it was, like I said, you could transport your whole G.I. Joe team, but the bumper would pull out and it also become a carrying case. So you could carry your figures wherever you went. The only thing that I really wished is if maybe they could have maybe had the seats flip up where you could put the accessories in there or something. But I still, to me, that was really cool. Again, because it floats and because it basically was a vehicle. It was also a carrying case. So that's number 8. How am I doing on time? I don't want to cut into Shane's time, so y'all let me know.
Oh, you're doing great.
Give me a 2-minute warning or something. I'll speed up.
No, you're doing good. Hey, what before you, like, I got to jump before I forget.
Okay.
Is it true that the Ram cycle fits that APC bumper when it's pulled out?
I don't know. I will have to check that out.
I had heard that the Ram cycle will fit in that bumper so that it's like being carried by the APC.
Oh, cool.
But I've never done it. I don't have an APC anymore, so
I will definitely have to check that out.
yeah, get back to us on that. Another live from the pit.
Hey, I mean, 40 years later, and I'm still learning new things about the finish line, things that I was not aware of. Number 7, the G.I. Joe headquarters. So, where do I start? Right, the G.I. Joe headquarters. It had a lot of things going on here. So to start off with, and I don't know how well you guys can see it, you had the bay for the Mobat. Okay. And I don't know if you can really see it there, but you can see that the gun barrel of the Mobat, it was just right so that it would fit through the wall. And as you turn the cannon side to side, okay. So you had a place for the Mobat. There were, of course, weapon racks on each side to put weapons. On the other side, you had a place for the vamp, and it would lift up so you could see the top of the vamp. It could fire its cannon over the top of the wall. Another cool feature, going back to the Mobat, and I'm probably going to have to pull this apart to show you. I love the fact that it did have, and I just lost a piece, but that's okay. Like I said, I put this together in about 3 minutes, so you could put the file cards in there for all your G.I. Joes. So it had a compartment for the file cards, which was really cool. And of course, you got the place to put the file cards. Where do you put the accessories? Well, the whole back side over here actually lifted up, and there were 2 trays that you could put accessories in and store in here. You had the computer station. You had the cannon up front. And off to the side, of course, you had a place for the Dragonfly. You had a landing pad for the Dragonfly. So it kind of fit all the vehicles. And of course, as a kid, I always rode the Ram motorcycle up inside the base too and parked it. So you could park him in there. Had a jail, so when you capture all the Cobra guys, because you didn't kill them, you just shot them down and they parachuted out, and then you capture them when they get on the ground. So as you can see, I've got Destro and his driver incarcerated in here right now. So you had the jail cell for them, and it just had a lot of playability, a lot of cool little features that kind of brought it all together. It's kind of like and again, this come out in '83, and so you basically it would hold most of the vehicles that come out in '82. The Mobat, the Dragonfly, the Vamp. Like I said, you can put the Ram in there. And the way I would do it with kids, as a kid, I would set up the mobile missile system and the Whirlwind and the Flak, kind of out in front there. And but yeah, it was just a really cool play set, for the time. And this was like the biggest play set up until 2 years later when the Flag come out. So this is number 7. Number 6 on the list, and we mentioned the Dragonfly. I haven't got it here yet, but the Dragonfly. And what was really cool about the Dragonfly, and like I said, the Night Raven was awesome. The Rattlers and some of the others, but all you could do is pretend like you were flying them. But with the Dragonfly, it actually had the switch where you could crank it and actually turn the propeller like it's actually flying. So it had the trigger mechanism that would allow the propeller to turn. And I remember as a kid, I thought, man, I remember seeing the commercials, and I thought, man, I got to get that Dragonfly because that's cool. That thing will fly by itself. And the best part was, again, it had a working hook on the bottom that you could pull out and then wind back up, so you could, pick up your Joes if it was too rough a terrain to land the Dragonfly. You could still pick them up with a rope. And what was really cool, it kind of reminded me, and this was back in the early '80s, so MASH was a popular TV show, and MASH was the mobile hospital unit right back in the Korean War. So I remember watching MASH and seeing them fly the guys in on stretchers on the skids of the helicopter, and that was what was great, because you could actually take docs. Help me out, guys. What do you call it?
It's a litter.
There you go. You could take that, and she had the little pegs on the back, so it would fit perfectly between the skids on each side, so it wouldn't fall off unless you really just got wild. Unless Wild Bill really got wild with his flying. You could carry your Wounded Joe on the bottom of it to the back to the base, and I always thought that was kind of a cool feature too. And just, I don't know, it's just the mechanism's what really sold me on it though. I thought, man, that is so cool that you can crank it and the propeller turn. Yeah. So, like I said, it's little things, but as a kid, it's something special, because It's something that other toys don't do, right? All right, and so that's number 6. So I'm halfway there, right? Okay. How am I doing on time?
You're doing good. You're about halfway done.
All right, look at there. Perfect. All right. Number 5, and I didn't get a chance to put him together. It's over there in the box in a bunch of pieces. But number 5, and oddly enough, most of my top 10 with on this list are earlier vehicles from the 82 to about 87 range, except for number 5, and that is, it's a really odd vehicle, and it was a time when I started getting a little weird with some of the stuff. But for some reason, after I got one of these in hand and looked at it in my later years, I thought, man, this is really a cool vehicle, and it's the Cobra Hammerhead. Okay. Now, what's special about this? You say, well, it's just, it's a really funny looking vehicle. But what got kids with this was the fact that you weren't just buying one vehicle, you were buying 6 vehicles in one. Okay. So that was the advertisement on the box, 6 vehicles in one. And so with that, you had the actual vehicle itself. On the side, you had 2 like subs that were really kind of neat. Like I said, I don't have all the missiles and all that on it, but the propeller would turn on back, and it would have really been cool if it had a button on there that would have made that spin. That would have been awesome. You had I'm not really sure what this was. It's got an antenna array and all that goes on it. This was a part that sat on top. It was more like sort of like a flying vehicle. It's like a little pod, and that sat on top. And then on the sides, you had 2, and they were really not really a whole lot to them, but they were just kind of neat looking, sort of like jet skis, I suppose. I don't know if I can get up there close where you can see them because they're kind of small. But these hooked to the side, so you had 2 of these, 2 of the subs, the little pod on top, and then the vehicle itself. That was your 6 vehicles. So you had 6 vehicles in one. And again, like I said, if you guys haven't actually seen a Hammerhead in person, because I know, most of you guys and most of the guys in the group are, like me, that by the time these things started coming out, we were in high school or in college. So, we missed out on these years. And some people say, well, that's fortunate because it did kind of get kind of crazy there. But this right here, I encourage you, if you ever get a chance to see one in person, pick it up and look at it, because it's actually really an intriguing vehicle to me. And like I said, I got it, looked at it, and I thought, man, that's crazy. But then the more I looked at it, I thought, well, this is actually kind of pretty cool. And I don't know, it just kind of grew on me. So anyway, that's my number 5.
I've never seen one.
Really?
No, never seen one.
You'll have to come over one day and I'll
definitely going.
Not sure. I got it at a one of the Joe conventions here back 7 or 8 years ago. So where'd I get to? Number 4. Of course, number 4 is the Mauler. Again, you guys know that was my first vehicle to have when I was a kid. That's what got me into G.I. Joe. But what was great about the Mauler, of course, was the fact that it was motorized. Now,
Mobat.
I'll be quite honest with you. I was going to put the Mauler as number 4 instead of the Mobat because the Mauler was also motorized. The Mauler had more of a modern tank look to it, but unfortunately, the Mauler would only go in one direction, forward.
Exactly.
It did have 2 speeds, but it would only go forward, whereas the Mobat not only would go forward and backward, but you turn the canopy and it actually turned left or turn right. So you could get all the motion out of the Mobat. And I'm always wondering why they didn't have the Mauler where you could turn it. I always thought that was kind of odd because if they had, it would have definitely, I hate to say it would have definitely passed the Mobat as much as I love the Mobat. If the Mauler would have done that, it would have took its spot at number 4 on my list. And again, like most of the vehicles, you had the tow cable. And another thing I loved about it, and again the Mobat, was the actual treads, like tank treads. I thought that it wasn't like the hiss that was molded plastic treads with wheels on the bottom. It actually had working treads. And to me, that's just that is G.I. Joe. I mean, that's about as military as you can get. A good old fashioned tank with treads, right? Yep. All right, and so that's number 4. Now number 3, obviously, let me set him right here. Number 3, obviously, I couldn't get number 3 in here, and that's the USS Flag. And I'm pretty sure about everybody that's watching this is most likely familiar with the USS Flag. The Flag had all kind of features to it. It had the working elevator where you could lower it down and pick up the shark, lift it back up. It had a working crane. It had, and this is what I love because the Sky Striker come out, 2 years earlier, come out in 1983. But the Sky Striker had the ribbing on the back for the tow hook. I guess I don't know if you call it tow hook, but the hook, the yellow hook, it would hook on the back of the Sky Striker, and so you could enact a jet taking off of an aircraft carrier. Because correct me if I'm wrong, you guys probably know a little bit more about our real aircraft carriers than I do. But they would hook them and they would build up their engines, get them going, and they would release that hook and they would shoot off and take to the air, right? So you could interact that, and plus it had to, when it come back and landed, it could also catch on the hook when it come back down. It had all sorts of cannons all around it. It had another great feature that was really intriguing was the microphone. So it would do all the sounds like the alert sounds and things, but you could also talk over it like the Admiral talking over the intercom system. So that was a big draw to kids also. And the biggest draw to the USS Flag was, well, it's an aircraft carrier that you can put in your room. Yeah. I mean, it's like this humongous 7.5 foot long aircraft carrier, and you're like, wow,
Yeah, cool.
And I know most people was probably thinking when I started this, we know the Flag's going to be number one. But no, actually, it come in number 3. As much as I love the Flag, and it's an icon, it's one of the holy grails. But there's 2 others that I kind of put above it because remember we're talking about special features and playability, right? Number 2. Also too big for me to bring in, and that's the Defiant Shuttle Complex. The Defiant Shuttle Complex was just amazing. I mean, it had its flaws. Number 1, it was way too heavy for the sets of wheels it had on it. It should have had another set of wheels or a big wheel right in the center on the bottom just to kind of take some of the weight off the others.
We'll just look at Dave's. It's behind him.
Yeah, it's right there.
No, there you go. Yeah,
That's the bane of my
the thing was heavy. It was heavy, and sometimes when you would crank it, and of course that's another feature. You crank it, and it'd raise it up. The crank, a lot of times you had to be real careful. It would catch and jerk a little. And sometimes I always kind of had to help mine with my hand just to be safe.
Yeah.
So number one, you had the crawler, which was like the vehicle part. You had cannons and workstations, and you had the cockpit where it seat like three of your Joes. So you had the crawler, and then you had the booster in the space station part, which would hold about 15 figures, and it was really, really kind of neat. I tried to jot down some notes so I don't forget to talk about a few things on it. But the booster, you could raise it up, and it had like 3 floors, 3 levels. And then, of course, you had the booster itself. The bottom level had 2 or 3, or I think it had like 6 different little workstations with computers with chairs. You could put action figures in. I mean, the thing would hold almost all your G.I. Joes. Honestly, if you position them right, you can pretty much nearly get all your G.I. Joes up to 1987 in this shuttle complex. It had what was called a transport module with transparent door on the first level, which I don't even know what that means. Some said it was a sensory deprivation tank.
Yeah, there's one right here, actually.
Yeah. What's that?
I've got one right here.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. I don't know what it's supposed to be, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah. And it's sort of shaped like the action figure. I mean, it's got the kind of like the shape of the body that would stick in there. Yeah, like I said, I never really was sure what that meant.
I don't know what it is. But there's one right there.
I guess that's for one guy can go to sleep for a long journey if he wants to.
I always thought it was like a medical station or something, like a Bacta tank from Star Wars or something. But
exactly, yeah. That would kind of fit because I mean they got to have some place to go if they get sick, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The second level was a sleeping compartment, so there were places for 3 Joes to get in there and sleep. I think there were a little locker on the side there, put stuff in, and then another great, really awesome feature to me was the top deck, the 3rd floor, had the airlock chamber with a swivel door, and the shuttle you could actually set it up, mount it on top, so that the hatch on the bottom of the shuttle you could open and stick a figure in there, and he would come out in the revolving door, like the decompression chamber. And actually, they actually have a picture in this book here, and I don't know if you can see it. I'll try to get it in there. This one right here. Can you guys see that?
Yeah, not really.
Okay. Well, okay. But look it up. I mean, all you guys online, you can look it up if you're not familiar with it. But it would set right on top of the booster, and it was pretty cool the way it would work. And then, of course, you had the shuttle. The shuttle had retractable landing gear. It had another cool feature, the umbilical cord, which was a real stiff wire inside the umbilical cord, and you could plug it into the back of the backpack on the payload, and it would actually look like he was floating in space when you got the bay doors open. You also had the crane hook attachment, or the claw, and had some chin guns and some other things, and also the cockpit on it would hold like three figures, also 3 or 4. So it was really, really, it was like 3 vehicles in one, because you had the crawler, the booster, and the shuttle. And like I said, the thing was massive. It was huge. It was heavy. That was one of the downsides to it. It was so heavy. Like I said, it would put too much pressure on those wheels, and a lot of them broke. It's easy to find a shuttle, but finding one the wheels are not broke on, and those big blue doors are really hard to find. It's not become so brittle that they just break when you touch them.
Yeah, that's not.
But again, I'm sorry, what was that?
That's not an exaggeration. Some of these doors, you literally touch them and they will break.
Right. So that's number 2. Okay. Now, number 1 on the list. Remember, we're talking playability. We're talking special features. Anybody want to take a guess?
Go ahead, do it.
I got you scratching your head, don't I? Come on, what do all kids love? I mean, what absolutely, especially boys, what do they love that's the most interactive that you can play with? An RC vehicle, right?
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah.
The G.I. Joe Crossfire, it had suspension. It had you could align the front end if it gets out of alignment. It had alignment. It had a switch on the back. It had 2 power modes. You could put it in like a low climbing mode, or you could put it in racing mode.
Awesome.
It actually had, which I never got one, but you could get a charger accessory to where you could actually put rechargeable batteries in it. I always just use regular batteries. So you could charge it, and it had an on-off switch, and of course it had the remote. It would do the obvious forward, backward, left, right. Real rubber wheels, and the back wheels had, of course, the spikes, to kind of give them some traction. And it come when you bought a Crossfire, it come with a pamphlet, a mail-in certificate where you could order more parts, more wheels, and I think like the encasing that the antenna's in, the hard case that would help hold the antenna up. You could actually order those. And looking back, I really wished I'd ordered some of those spare parts just to have, because, I mean, I'm sure those things would be worth some money now if you had a new set of tires for a Crossfire. But also, I mean, you had pegs on the side. You could put they come with Rumbler, which was basically a repaint of Heavy Metal's body with Footloose's head, if I remember right. You had 2 pegs. You could have 2 Joes hanging onto the side, with their machine guns or whatever. And you could mount 1 Joe, or actually you could put them 2, because there was handles for 2 guys to operate the big cannon on back there. So it would hold 5 Joes. And this thing could cut out across the yard, and you'd see, you get to go in and hit a good bump or something, you see Joes flying off left and right if you didn't have them on there good. But this is the one that I actually bought when I was a kid, so I still have one.
Nice.
I'm glad I kept hung on to it. This was the Alpha 27, and there was a Delta, I believe it was 49. This one ran on 27 megahertz. The other ran on 49 megahertz. So you could get one of each, and you and your buddy could race them.
Oh, cool.
Because they were on different frequencies. And I always wondered why they didn't just take it, at least just paint it maybe Cobra blue and include a Cobra troop and have a G.I. Joe and a Cobra. Because I always thought it would have been awesome if they'd done one for the Cobra team as well. Yeah. But yeah, so my number one, of course, is you talk about playability. Good Lord, I had hours and hours and hours and thousands of batteries worth of fun with this. And you could see the scuff mark. Well, you may not on the camera, but it's got scuff marks and all where it just went over all kind of terrain. But again, you had suspension. I mean, that thing really, it could go and it would bounce and still land on all 4 wheels and keep on going like a cat. It's an awesome vehicle. And but playability, man, it was remote control. You could just go all over the yard with it, and it was just awesome. So
that's awesome. That's an awesome.
So there you have it. I mean, that's to me, that's my top 10 special feature playability type features that draw kids in. And like I said, I'm sure other people's got, they probably agree, disagree. Maybe they think something should be higher on the list or lower. Something shouldn't be on there. Something should be on there. But I mean, they're all great. Bottom line is,
it's your list.
It's just all great, and
right.
Especially those first 5 or 6 years. I mean,
I would agree. Yeah,
best vehicles by far.
Yeah, that's fantastic, John. Thank you. That was a great job, actually. I didn't know that about. I actually didn't know about the litter and the dragonfly until just recently. But I mean, it is funny. You still learn stuff all the time. Check out that bumper thing with the ram cycle. I heard that just recently. That ram cycle fit inside that bumper. That it would just ride on the back of an APC. But like I said, I don't have an APC right now to check it. But
yeah, I'll check that out. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out. Yeah, like I said, you learn stuff new every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
My problem is I'm getting so old, I forget stuff, and then I'll see it, and I'll say, "Oh, I didn't know to do that." Yeah. I probably did it one time. I just don't remember it.
You ready, Shane? What you got for us this week?
Yeah, I'm ready, man. I'm going to be doing the my top 10 of the toys this past year. I'm going to start off with number 10. The most recent one I've got is Dusty. He was one of my favorites as a kid. Loved his paint scheme. He was always just so much fun to play with. And he was just great. I mean, you get to play out the desert, the jungle, anywhere with him. And Rick done a picture here recently from him being in the Funhouse episode where he had the balloons all around him. That was just a great toy for me as a kid, and definitely loved this one. You can see it's just an awesome figure. I've not got to open this one yet. I'm behind on opening my seconds. But anyway, he's a really good figure. Number 9 is going to be the Tiger Force Outback.
Yep.
Great figure. I mean, I really wish they would have went with the original first, because I actually had an original when I was a kid. I never had one of the orange shirts one. But I love the orange shirt, the tiger on front, being an Auburn Tiger fan and all. And let's face it, he's almost got an awesome gray beard like me.
Almost. It's almost as awesome as yours.
He's close, but not quite there yet. Number 8 and 7.
Let me interrupt. It makes sense that they released him as well as Bazooka first for the Tiger Force, because would you have bought him if you got the original?
Probably not.
See, I don't think many people would. So that's
probably
a good point. We can sell a special, then release original, and everybody like, okay, exactly. That way they're pretty much printing money that way, because it's like people know about it.
That's a good
Makes
point.
A ton of sense there. Ton of sense. All right, then number 8 and 7 for me, the Crimson Twins.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
I mean,
they could have counted as one.
No.
Yeah, which one's 7? Which one's 8?
7 and 8, you pick.
Are you sure?
The scar or no scar. But anyway, it's two of the best Cobra guys ever. I mean, they was evil terrorists and slick businessmen all together.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think they could have easily run Cobra by themselves without anybody. As smart as they was in their business and everything, could have easily done it. All right, number 6. Yeah, plus they had the money. Yeah.
Yeah, they were the money.
Number 6 was Old Spirit.
That's an awesome redo.
He is really great. There's not much I don't like about this figure, actually. I mean, he takes me back to some of the great days running in the yard playing Cowboys and Indians, and I always was the Indian guy. So he was always amazing to me. Plus, he had a pet falcon in Freedom, or eagle in Freedom, I meant.
Yeah.
I mean, you couldn't ask for much better. Number 5, going back with another pet guy.
Yeah.
Old Croc Master. Should have easily been a Dreadnought. To me, he should have been a Dreadnought from day one. He's just bad, man. I mean, just look at him. Would you mess with that guy? I wouldn't. I mean, the dude he looks like Bane.
He does look like Bane.
I mean, and he got crocodiles for friends. And what else would you want? All the backup you need there. But yeah,
I think you meant to say Bane looks like him, because I believe he come before Bane.
Well, yeah,
he did.
But
I'm sitting here wondering that
they could easily be brothers. Bane may be a little bigger, but easily been brothers. And sticking with the old Dreadnoughts, the girl, Zorana, the woman.
They did good on her.
This is a beautiful figure.
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. I mean, you've got this new head and the new hair, and then you've got the vintage look also. I mean, that's great. To me, it's awesome. Zartan's sister, my favorite female bad girl. She could have easily beat any Dreadnought up easily. But yeah, she is great. Y'all know I love the Dreadnoughts. They're my thing. So she is. When they said she was coming out, I was like, that's one I will not miss, no matter what I have to do. I might have to beat somebody up in Target or Walmart to get that, but I would do that for this figure. Anyway, great figure. Awesome to me. Number 3. Probably everybody's favorite as a kid, right? Who did not like Sergeant Slaughter? And he is actually in this box. I have took him out and put him back. And he brought more, to me, I think he brought more fans to the G.I. Joe line. Being a famous wrestler, at that time, because when I was a kid, wrestling was big. I remember Saturday morning sitting and watching wrestling with my grandmother. And, they back then, they got a little crazy over their wrestling. And, you're watching it with your grandmother and you see Sergeant Slaughter, and then you scrolling through cartoons and you see him on G.I. Joe. I believe that probably picked up a bunch of fans into the G.I. Joe line. But this is an awesome figure. I don't know why they give us the little bitty minifig inside with it. Still haven't figured that one out. But changeable hands.
I don't know what the point one is. I mean, it's cool, but I don't know what.
It's cool,
what
but I just
relates to. I never got that. It's cool.
You got the changeable hands, the helmet, the hat, the glasses, the whistle, the baton, and everything. I mean, this is a great figure. I was really torn between it and number 1, but I had to go with this one as number 3. Number 2, for me, Dr. Mindbender.
Yeah.
A lot of people are complaining about this figure for just stupid reasons, a little down on his arms or whatnot. But when you open this thing and look inside, I mean, it is an amazing figure. All the accessories that came with, I mean, it's basically set up for a lab right there. Everything you need, really. And it's to me, it's a great figure. Pretty, real nice. But that was number 2. It was hard for me not to put him in a top 10, But to me, he's a great figure. Okay, and then I bet nobody can guess number 1 for me.
Cobra Officer.
Yeah, that's it. Cobra Officer.
The Cobra Officer. Yeah.
The main Cobra Officer of them all. Once again, I mean, awesome job on this figure. Just amazing job. The air chariot is, once again, awesome. I don't know how good I'm showing this stuff in here.
It's coming across.
To me, it's just really great. The art, the box work, everything is just outstanding on these. I was, once again, not missing this figure at all. Well, no matter what I had to do, like I said, I beat somebody up for one. Now I know why we're getting kicked out of Targets all the time. But the box art on the back, and Rick can tell y'all, I love this artwork stuff.
Yeah, it is the best artwork.
I mean, it is fantastic. I mean, you got him beating up Cobra Commander. The only thing I wish they would have had on the back of this is him and Sergeant Slaughter fighting on this art.
Yeah.
If Sergeant Slaughter and him had been fighting down here, somewhere in this area, would that not have been just amazing? I mean, to me, that would have been awesome because, like Rick tell you, I'm an art guy. I like the artwork.
Yep.
And the packaging, it's fantastic. Plus, number one with right behind Dr. Mindbender, the creator of Serpentor. It's amazing. But my top 10 was short and sweet.
No, that did it.
It's just amazing. Most people are probably got the same top 10 pretty close.
Pretty close.
Because these are some, and it was hard. I'm not going to lie, guys. It was really hard for me to come up with the top 10 from the figures we've got from this year of Classified. It was, to me, there's not a bad figure. John has said it before. He don't think there's a bad figure, and neither do I. I believe this line they've hit it out of the park. A lot of people don't like the repaints, and that's fine. But I grew up with the Python Patrol, and it's okay. I would rather a new figure come out rather than a repaint, but to me they're okay. And I'm a completist, so if it's got a number on it, I'm going to get it.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
That's pretty much my top 10 of this year's Classified figures.
No, you did a great job. Awesome job. You want to go now, Rick?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, we have to,
right? Well, my thing's usually future, and after looking through a lot of things, I'm kind of gloomy about future prospects, especially. Well, I got me a Bobby from the Dungeons and Dragons, which I wanted one when they first announced it, because I had a picture in mind, which I did, which I'll post on my Instagram tonight. Blah 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 blah. But this is 4.5 inches of plastic, okay, and they called it a 2-pack, where you have a little unicorn. Okay, this is his only articulation, his head turn. That's it.
Oh, there you go.
And you can't forget his cool accessory, his club. All this for the very, very low price of $24.99. That's just, I don't know.
It's tough.
And he's no cheaper than the others, because the others were $24.99. So I don't know if I feel like I got $25 worth of plastic out of it. So I kind of hate this trend that's starting, especially with Hasbro, where they think something like that should be just one price across the board for all the figures. So, but that leads me to, Hasbro announced some things today, where it was like build a figure that some people were kind of excited about, that I think looks like the Wish version of Abomination. I guess you pronounce it Chode. It's like a big green toad. I don't know. I think it's lazy of Hasbro to do that. It's a old sculpt, very old sculpt and stuff, and I just don't think I think there's a long list of other things people would like to have other than that. And it's going with the X-Men wave, and I know X-Men sell, and they people love the X-Men. Of course, I never was really big on X-Men, but there are a couple of figures in that line's coming up, such as Cyclops' dad, and then they gave another version of Emma Frost. Hasbro sent me the Hellfire Club set back from the San Diego Comic-Con. What was that, 2021 or something like that? Stuff, and the Emma Frost, and it was really good and done stuff, but I guess they felt they needed a new one, less slutty one, because the one in the
maybe
multi-pack was pretty much in a garter and stockings and looked more like she was ready for a cabaret than with X-Men. So, but it was still good, and but I think the main thing I'm looking forward to this coming year is the War Duke by NECA that's supposed to come out anytime. And you start talking about Dungeons and Dragons, I mean, that's War Duke was kind of the guy from, like, as far as I can remember. With one we will eventually figure out how to throw pictures up here saying if I don't have the fig, which I actually have the original, but yeah, trying to find anything is kind of hard these days. So
In the spider infested storage unit.
do what?
In your spider infested storage unit.
Yeah, man, them spiders are like they like carry machine guns and stuff, man. That's a major. I'm not bad arachnophobic, but let's just say you can kill them. I'll stand over there and cheer you on. I'll be in the bleacher section. So won't think I won't burn down a house. But yeah, because a lot of us been there, and I was talking to Dave earlier about that because I run across a bunch of old Jurassic Park figures and all that kind of stuff. Probably got a lot of stuff that's technically just getting burnt sitting there that I should probably give to a good home or do some swapping or something like that because they're you got enough toys, Shane. Put your hand up.
There's never enough.
As far as my favorite figures from last year, I did a video and I won't bore people with that again stuff, but Joe, man, I'm right with you. That Serpentor, of course, with me and other collectors that I deal with, and he seemed to top a whole lot of top 10 lists this year.
Oh yeah,
you just you just couldn't. The only ones that I've seen that really didn't list him, probably put him in honorable mention, was simply because he wasn't like the regular release price. It was kind of an exclusive. So if you kind of counted only what you could like run into Target and buy or just buy online really quick, something like that, then that would eliminate him and Mindbender and stuff. And yeah, I was with you because Mindbender, I think they killed it. There are things they could have done better, but it's almost like that's what Hasbro's always done, was how they made him. They got the same cape he got when he was original. Mm-hmm. Like the arguments with the Tomax and Zaymon about Hasbro got them reversed. I'm like, no, they're exactly like the toys have always been.
Right.
Now they don't match the cartoons, but a lot of things don't match the cartoons. I think I had mentioned to y'all in the group chat about having a segment or something just on about the differences between the characters, like Bazooka, how he was in the file card, how he was in the comics, and what kind of idiot he was in the cartoon. So it's like, so that was always different. And in comics, it always kind of, that's the frustrating thing about comics, is a lot of times it depends on who's writing the story as to what the person does, how good they are, and all that kind of stuff. There's two characters you damn sure know are going to be OP'd, and that's Batman and Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
They both have godhood years ago. So, you'll have fanboys at your door with pitchforks and torches if you don't write a good Batman story or something, because people love them. I think sometimes they go away from what their charm was, because a lot of Batman's charm was Batman was not a superhero.
Right.
And you could see yourself with a lot of training and teaching and all that kind of stuff that you could
do something.
you could be Batman. I mean, within, that's why we should all be, disappointed in Bill Gates and stuff. I mean, he's got the money. So and he knows technology and stuff. So he needs to go to the Far East. Go to the Far East and learn how to fight and come back and fight crime.
Or get out of the way so Musk or one of the other guys can do it.
But, so it's so early in the thing, it's hard to talk about future releases. Last cast we did, we talked about the rock and roll and stuff that's coming in the G.I. Joe line. I think we're all looking forward to that. I'm all but the special teams. I'm going to buy every G.I. Joe they make. That's just, now I do army build. I squad build. I I have to have a fire team, which is usually 4 figures, it's 4 figure stuff. And that's it. So I know some people like want a whole freaking platoon or regiment and stuff. And you can find them and you got the coin, have at it, stuff. So, but yeah, as long as I get my 4, sometimes it's nice to slide a 5th and have a NCO there. But it's just, so they're coming and I'm still paying off credit cards from last year and year before, and it'll be a constant cycle and stuff like that, and
never ending process.
No, and at the price though, the price hikes and stuff with the other lines that I do collect, because I collect Marvel Legends and stuff, and it needs to. I have to be more selective than I normally am, because and it sucks when I think we were talking about this last. It's like McFarlane. Wait, McFarlane. Have done that. They've done Solomon Grundy, and that's one of my favorite DC baddies. And I'm not going to buy 4 figures, spend $100 for. I'm just
it's $100. Yep.
Even though I've seen that penguin, and that penguin does look really, really nice.
It's a good figure.
Yeah, a friend of mine let me hold it. Yeah, so. It was more movable than I was thinking, and I was saying, you can actually get a decent pose, a fight pose out of this for action figure photography and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, and McFarlane does really good on the sculpts. When their QC is on point, you really get nice figures.
Yep.
And since a lot of their figures, those I think with a big build figure are what, 25, but their regular figures are $19.99 still most places. So that's still, that's they give good sculpts and all that stuff. They, of course, I bought McFarlane figures, I don't know, since the 90s. It's just part of a thing that you just buy because they really look good sitting on the shelf, because at one time they practically were just little plastic statues.
Yep.
I'm glad that he's redone the Dragons line. Now they're like 3 times the size the original ones were, and cost. But the sculpt is all there, and I'm, probably gonna fight myself for a long time not getting that line. There's only been one put out I've seen. I'm like, it looks really good. So when they start putting some really cool ones, ultra cool ones, because Todd's got that imagination, I'll be like, you suck, Todd. You just should.
The Todd father.
Yeah. And like, just but I think if I had to pick one top one that's coming next year, that's gonna be the freaking Hiss Tank, man. I'm so ready for that Hiss Tank to get to my door.
Yeah.
And
yes.
I'm probably gonna be a big grown man and take it out, play in my backyard, and go and through the grass and everything, just for old time's sake. Or if I have to do that, I may have to break out my old Terradome. It's probably so old, brittle now. It's in storage. Yeah, if you see my stuff, you'd make me hide my face in shame. But yeah, that Hiss Tank. I know a lot of people are excited about the Sky Striker right now, and people are talking a lot of hype over it. I'm like, yeah, but to be honest, there at first didn't think it was going to fund either.
Right.
Because I've got 2 OG Sky Strikers and like 4 of the other ones and stuff. So I'm like, I think the last one I had was a black and red one kind of thing. It looks really cool, but it's still just Sky Striker,
Right.
So, I'd be glad to trade one of them for a Rattler, because I realized when I was going through stuff, I don't even own a Rattler. I had like a Target exclusive, or I think it was like camouflage. I don't even know if it was actually Ford Cobra and stuff. I saw the tailpiece of it. I'm like, okay, the rest of it's in here somewhere. So, but yeah, like, oh, that's the camouflage one. Because I had a picture idea, and I'm like, oh, Rattler would be nice. Then it struck me that the last time I used one, I had to get a friend of mine up north, in the Great White North, to take pictures of his and send down so I could use for a background picture for stuff. So, funny how we're collecting connections with so many people all over the freaking world. It's weird. Sometimes it's like I forget that they're, especially a friend of mine, Johnny, he's over in the UK, but we get to talking and we forget that he's clear on the other side of the pond. They're like, yeah, I can't just ride to your house. Let's go fly. Run down here and harass these Target employees and stuff. So, but yeah, it's and I got friends in up Canada and stuff like that, and one was in Puerto Rico, but his stuff when that hurricane came through a few years back, it took all his stuff. A few of us tried to help by sending them stuff or whatever like that, but for the longest he didn't really have a place for it because it was a lot of transit and stuff, so and everything, and so it's one of them things where then he drops off the radar and you go, can I get a pulse check at least? So, but yeah, even that you forget sometimes, and it's like you guys, John, Dave, stuff. Y'all are, y'all aren't just down the road. Even Shane, he's closest to me, but he's still 30 minutes or so. It's not like I can just go, hey, I'll just stop by Shane's on my way to stuff. So because if I did, then I'm probably drunk and lost, and I don't drink. That means I'm pretty lost. But yeah, I ain't really got a lot to say about future stuff because they really nothing really hit me other than, like I said, that War Duke that next coming out looks very, very impressive. I kind of hope that they would release a movie version. They did the Ming the Merciless and Flash Gordon, but they didn't actually give us a movie version, and I want a movie version because I'm corny enough that I love that freaking movie. You never seen it, huh?
It is a cool movie. It's a cool movie.
For its time, it was
what it's supposed to be. It's perfect. I mean, really. Yeah.
I think that's a lot of things we overlook. That some things are for what it's supposed to be. They're just perfect. They're entertaining.
Yep. It was, perfect camp. It's perfect.
And then sometimes though, it's like today I watched G.I. Joe episode. My favorite things. You remember that? It's where Serpentor's gathering stuff, battle axe, giant cobra snake, and all this other kind of stuff. Well, they're having a conversation about this and Vlad Tippies and all that stuff, and they're acting as if like y'all were there when Cobra went and got the DNA. Remember, you got trapped inside of the sarcophagus and all that, and we said we've learned don't wear deodorant, stuff. So how do you forget? That apparently didn't smell that bad then, huh? But it's like the writers sometimes in the show going, they were there the first time. Why would they remember?
No continuity.
Yeah, and sometimes it can be quite silly.
Sure.
Because then, like the continuity really suffered, and you could understand it. It was like went from the Sunbow to the Dick. It's like because one was really, really targeting kids, and all they really cared about was selling toys.
Right.
Yeah, that was really all it was. Everything else, where first they were selling toys, but they were also selling comics, and they were streaming the cartoons and everything to get the interest on it. So it was stuff, but even then, like we said earlier, we got difference in personalities and all that kind of stuff between the file cards and comic books, cartoons, movies, whatever like that. And one day, hopefully, we'll get a good G.I. Joe movie that we can all.
I hope so. Maybe someday.
Yeah, I got You can't see it, but I got my toes crossed too. Yes.
Mine too. They're under the table.
Oh,
Yes. When I get up and walk away from here, I'll probably forget and trip because this so. But yeah, that would be. I mean, the Snake Eyes movie was to me an insult. It was like they took the property, they wanted to use the name, and then give you something that was like, it's like when you throw something up, it's like it's based on true events. It's like,
right.
So, yeah, it's like
It was horrible.
one day Shane slapped some guy in Target. You know, it's okay. Well, you know, that was because the guy grabbed his wife's butt. But they don't add that. They just add that the guy didn't give you a toy, so beating up everybody at Target. So, but that was based on a true event. I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah. And by the time Hollywood gets done with it, then you're John Wicking everybody in Target.
Yep.
I can see Shane going all John Wick on people.
Or maybe dig up the guns.
Yeah, see. Yeah.
Oh wait, they're going on a boat wreck. Never mind.
They're going to what? Oh yeah,
That's a boat wreck.
Yeah, we had a boating accident. We don't have those anymore.
Yeah, mine got stolen by liberals. They broke into my home, stole all my guns. They told me it was for my own good. They were protecting the elderly.
That's it. Protecting
Not
you.
all of them too, didn't they?
Yeah,
every last one.
Yeah, they even took my BB guns.
Yeah, well, you know, them liberals, they're thorough when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, they didn't want me. They didn't want me to put my eye out. You know, so
yeah, right.
My BB guns.
Put your eye out.
But I don't. Future thing. I'm kind of toe tapping, kind of waiting for more companies to release some stuff for. I know last year there's some that I didn't get. I kind of regret not getting. Like I really wish I'd got that Naughty or Nice Santa Claus, and stuff. So because I just, y'all know me. I have two pictures I want to do. See, I need a toy bro that lives right down the street from me that buys all this stuff, and I go, hey, I need to borrow that for like 3 hours. Bring it right back to you. Now, I've got a few. One even owns a store in Huntsville, and he has loaned me stuff just so I can just take pictures. Then I bring it back, you know. In fact, one, I wrapped it so good going back. He goes, I'm like, you going to put it back out? He said, no, you wrapped it too good. I'm going to leave it because I know it's going to. I'm like, how do you know it's in there?
Yeah, really.
But yeah, it's like I don't even want the figure. It's like I just want to take some pictures and stuff. So because sometimes I go through artwork and I'm like, oh, I'd love to do a toy adaptation of that and stuff. And tonight, so I did the Bobby thing that I'll post on the Instagram and stuff. I'm not going to collect any more of the D&D line and stuff. Just that particular one, I can see a few pictures in to use and stuff. I'm going to try to, with all Shane, I'm going to try to see if the helmet comes off because I've got a Thor helmet I think could fit right on top of it, which would be kind of cool. Maybe make it look like a young Thor. Everything. Shane back. So, blame it on the Shane.
Must have been my fault.
We know you only wanted to get Bobby for the unicorn, though. We all know that.
That's right.
Hey, dudes.
He's a pony bro, right?
He wanted the unicorn.
With all due respect to John, and he's like the super dad of the group kind of thing. They said the next picture I do with him, Bobby and the unicorn, is going to include Deadpool, and you probably don't want your kids. Because he's going to be protecting the unicorn from Wade and the subject matter, stuff. So it will not be, Now, it's only worse because the content relies upon your imagination. So if you're kind of messed up in the head like me, then you're kind of like, yeah, you're probably going to need therapy. So, but Deadpool's love for unicorns, Shane's froze in time.
He is, isn't he?
He's just there.
I'm just here.
Or something, huh?
He's in deep thought.
Yeah.
Very deep.
You got him
Really?
thinking about the picture you're going to take.
That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, you broke Shane, apparently.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
He's not even blinking.
You broke Shane. You
Shane
broke him.
said we chill out. We didn't mean freeze. He's been having technical difficulties. Poor guy.
Oh, man.
His audio was coming through. It's like he was eating tater chips. I don't know what that was.
You had Aquaman over. It sounded like he was inside a fish tank or something.
Yeah, I had to mute him from over here. I don't know. I don't know if that muted everywhere. Or
Yeah.
there he is. He moved.
Oh, there he is.
No. Wait.
Nope.
Did you go dial up, Shane? Buffering. You know, there's millennials out there going, what's he talking about?
Yeah. Waiting for the little AOL thing to show up.
Yeah.
I can hear everything you're saying.
You could.
Can you hear us, Shane?
I can hear everything you guys are saying.
Oh.
Well,
Sorry, I don't live in the city.
No, well. That's funny. That's actually funny.
but everybody say hi to Corey. Corey said hi.
Hey, Corey.
Hey, Corey.
So we were supposed to, and we still might, we were supposed to have a guest for the revised 10 hut, which is still 10 questions, but we were going to definitely keep it short form compared to what we used to do with the podcast. But he has not, he hasn't clicked on the link yet. So I had kind of just prepared a top 10 for myself, but mine is kind of, I limited it to last year, but I kind of jumped lines. I didn't stick with just Joe stuff. And I got a couple of honorable mentions that I'll do at the end, because there was some actually, despite all of the supply chain woes and all of the other stuff, there was actually a lot of really cool stuff that hit the shelves last year. And I think that's kind of universally true, no matter what you collect. I mean, I actually come really, really close as an honorable mention to buying a couple of those Masters of the Universe Revelation figures, because they were just really that good, in my opinion. And I hadn't bought anything Masters of the Universe since probably 1984. But those figures really, boy, the figures were a lot better than a cartoon.
I actually had 4 of those figures in my top 10 until I decided to go with all Joe's.
Yeah, because they were nice. I mean, they were really, really well done figures, I thought. And, I've seen the retro stuff over the last couple of years, but when those Revelation figures hit, it was just like, man, those are actually very, very nice. I'm going to start with, crap, I put them backwards. I knew I was going to do that. Give me a second. I got 2 piles here, and I thought I piled them in order, but I didn't. I had to put this in here. I have to believe you. This Crockmaster, I have to tell you, I cannot believe that this thing is a peg warmer. We waited here in the Birmingham area. We waited forever for these things to actually show up, and I swear I'm the only guy in the area that bought one, because they're just sitting. Both of the Walmarts that I frequent, they both have 3 or 4 of them still just sitting there. I mean, they've been buried under stuff. They're completely overlooked. And this is a fantastic figure. Everything about this I like. I always like Crockmaster as a character. This figure is fantastic. And like I said, it's when they finally go on clearance, I'll get another one, because it would be good to have 2 Crocs. But it's still at what, $40. I'll let the peg warmers sit until I can actually justify spending maybe 20 on another Fiona. But Yeah, this is 10. This is number 10 for me. And this list was very hard to do for me too, because like I said, there was some really awesome stuff that came out last year. This one might surprise you, and I got it just before Christmas, and I have to tell you, I haven't had a chance to read the storyline yet, but I'm gonna. This is a Superman figure from a storyline that they ran through the fall and into the early winter of him being off planet and on War World, rapidly losing his powers. So he's still this barbarian-esque Superman figure. I just really like what they did with this figure. If you see one on the shelf, actually pick it up and look at it. This is a really nicely done figure, and I'm surprised most of the artwork on the back of these DC Multiverse figures are actually photographs of the actual figure. Some of these are actually really, really spectacular work. But believe it or not outside of the Justice League, not a huge Superman fan, but this figure is number 9 for the entire year. This one is really, really well done. I'll keep them straight this way. Number 8 is another McFarlane figure. What do we got here? There's a groupie, great show so far. I almost unsubscribed when Shane talked about Outback and gave a shout out to.
Yeah, I mean, get talking about the groupies.
This right here is from the Three Jokers storyline. This is a Batgirl figure. This is probably the nicest Batgirl figure that anybody has ever done, bar none. As far as comic accurate and as far as era accurate. If you're into Silver Age, she'll pass. You know, if you're into 52 Rebirth, whatever, this is probably the nicest Batgirl figure that anybody has ever done. It's like Rick was saying earlier. McFarlane, their sculptors are just phenomenal, and their attention to detail is, I mean, really bar none. For stuff like this, that's if you ever get it, you won't now actually because they'll be all gone. But if you ever had a chance to see one of these on the pegs, it's a spectacular figure.
If McFarlane got their scaling on par, they would just, I mean,
yep,
everyone would be trying to catch up to them.
This one is outside of the norm for, I think, most collectors because, wow, it's just, it never really took off as big as I think it should have. But they started this Hammond collection for the Jurassic Park World, whatever series of figures. And I wish my lighting was in here better. This is the T-Rex. These are hyper detailed, hyper articulated. These things are actually phenomenal figures. If you like dinosaurs, if it's the T-Rex or Triceratops or the Baryonyx or the Stratatops or Velociraptor, these things are out. Anything Hammond collection is number 7 for me because I hope this line lasts a long time. And they're
have they done away with the Amber collection in place of those?
Well, the Amber collection, well, I'll give you an idea. The Amber collection was, if I can get this to come off, Amber collection, I can't get that one down. Amber collection is 6-inch scale.
Yeah. So I had to.
and it's gone. The Amber collection is done.
That's not what I want to hear.
So this is all 3 3/4. The Hammond collection, but the detailing on these things is just, you look at this Rex versus any of the other Rexes that they've done. This thing is stellar. I can't say enough about this one. Mattel is really nailing it with the Hammond collection. So if you're into dinosaurs or into those movies or have kids that are into dinosaurs, these things are amazing. Like I said, this Triceratops is $19.99. So they're not hugely expensive. The smaller ones like the Raptors, you can get them most of the time for $10. That's supposed to be $14.99. Most of the time they're $9.99.
Cool.
So you can't beat it, and they are much better than what you see for the regular release for like the movies and stuff. These are really phenomenal. So
what retailer is carrying that line, Dave?
What's that?
What retailer is carrying that line?
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you for that. Yeah, they're Target.
Okay.
Yeah, no one else. Target has made a deal with Mattel because Mattel has said publicly that they intend on trying to turn the Jurassic Park line into their Star Wars. They want it that expansive. And tell you the truth, they're pretty well on their way for having the license for 4 years. They're making a lot of stuff. I just don't know if sales are going to keep up now that the movies have ended. Well, I guess we'll wait and see. But that Hammond collection is absolutely phenomenal. They really hit the ball out of the park with those. I really went with not necessarily a line. It's just, I swear, it's more of a company. This, again, McFarlane, this Swamp Thing that they did this year, this is the regular release. There was a GameStop exclusive.
With the horn,
like bone antlers. I wanted the regular release. This is a stellar sculpt. I mean, this figure is awesome, and I'm not even a big Swamp Thing fan, but when you see it, you just go, man, that thing is gorgeous. It really is. Swappable hands and stuff like that. It's just a fantastic figure. I will warn you though, the big guys are $40 at retail. They're $39.99, which is double what a standard DC Multiverse figure is. The Builder figures are $25, but these big ones, man, the sculpting is just amazing.
I scored my Swamp Thing at Total Nostalgia. It's missing the little wedge hand, but
Yep.
I got it for $20, so I couldn't say no.
No. So yeah, you've seen it out of the package. It's a substantial figure. It's really nicely done.
Oh yeah, I shot a good picture with it of him fighting the alligators from Crocmaster. So
oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I had to do this one. Number 5 is this carded gung ho. I have to tell you, in a lot of ways, nostalgia wise, this is the best classified figure so far. For the nostalgia of it, not because of his sculpt or anything else, but just the pure nostalgia. This is, in my opinion, this is the best nostalgic modernized figure that they've done so far. I really like this figure. I wish the tattoo was actually whatever the Marine Corps has with licensing or whatever with Hasbro now that they don't have now that they did back in 84 or 83. I don't know what the deal is with it, but this is a fantastic figure. It is the coastal blue. It's just a great figure. I wish more guys had actually been able to get this in this condition. I have to tell you, this card is so great that I don't want to open this one. I'm going to try to get one of the ones that was damaged because it seems like 9 out of 10 of them were damaged in shipping. But yeah, this is Gung Ho was always one of my favorites, anyways. So yeah, that's
was that a pre-order? Did you get it on a shelf somewhere, Dave?
I actually got this one from Pulse, and I swear it was a fluke, and it's the only reason it came in this condition because everybody else I heard of got them from Walmart and they were destroyed.
Yeah, I've not seen him or Destro on shelves yet.
No, I have not either. No, he was ordered, and like I said, I think I got him on a fluke.
But ironically, I got him and several Destros at a secondhand store and bought all they had and sold them to guys in the group.
Yeah,
but all the cars were damaged.
Yep. That's why I don't really. I'm not a mint on the card collector most of the time. I don't have the heart to open that one because it is just so. It's a great card, and I'll just get an extra one later for the project that we're doing.
All the ones I got from Pulse were bent up and mashed up, just like
Pulse too.
Yeah. Faults too. Yeah.
And that just cinches the fact that one there will never be opened. If anybody's got one that's damaged that they want to let go of, let me know, because I want one to open, but I won't open that one because, like I said, if I don't grade stuff by any means, but I'd put this card at a solid 8.5. It's that good.
That's about what I got from Walmart.com when I ordered it, but me, I opened it. So yeah, if I'd known it'd been such a difficult thing, I might have waited till somebody had a jacked up card and said, "Let's just swap," Cause if it comes to my house, I'm freeing them toys. They can't breathe.
They can't breathe, man.
They can't breathe. They probably ain't ate for days. That's why they got a 6-pack because they're starved.
Number 4. No surprise. This mind bender. This thing is a strong second as far as nostalgia goes for the classified line. They just they nailed this figure. They just nailed this figure. I was fortunate enough to get this one first round, actually. I was trying to remember what happened with Serpentor. I got this one first round. I just hit it just right, and I was able to get it ordered. I didn't have to go back and stress whether I was going to actually be lucky enough to get one. And that is also when I joined Pulse, because I decided I was never going to run that risk with Serpentor. So I just figured I'll save it in shipping. I'll save that $50 in shipping over a year, the way that it's been going anyway. So I took a shot on that. At the same time, that's a phenomenal figure. That Mindbender is just phenomenal. The accessories with it are great. I agree it will be re-released at some point in time, but it's not going to have all that stuff with it. And my number 3 is that Serpentor. There's very little that negative you could say about this, other than the whole pre-order fiasco and the numbers just being ridiculously low for that first round. Even though they had promised there was going to be more than enough, there was just nowhere near enough. And we've still got guys that are waiting until February or March for the second round.
I believe last of March, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll give credit where credit's due. They did offer a second round, but it shouldn't have happened that way. There should have been enough the first time. That's my opinion anyways. But this is spectacular, and I have to agree, this is probably the best artwork that I've seen on a classified yet. This is actually fantastic. I can't find fault with that figure at all. This one might surprise you, or maybe it won't, but my number 2 is this Joker figure. It's from the Three Jokers storyline. This is the Joker comedian figure. These were a GameStop exclusive. They were very, very low numbers. And it's probably the best Joker figure I have ever seen. And I've bought a lot of Joker figures. This one is I wish you could see it better. It's just phenomenal. It's a phenomenal figure. The fedora, the trench coat, the camera. It's from like Killing Joke-esque type Joker. His eyes are visible, but they are black. I mean, they are coal black when you actually look at him, enough to see underneath the fedora. This is the best Joker figure that's ever been made, and I don't imagine anybody will top it, to be honest with you. Not in my opinion, anyways. It kind of came and went. They said, yeah, those will be the third Joker will be a GameStop exclusive, and there were very limited numbers, and I happened to get one on pre-order, and then that was it. I've actually never even seen another one. So this one is sometimes if you guys ever come around, I'll show it to you. It's really the way they did it. You look at it and it's fine, and the fedora shades right across the bridge of his nose, and if you tip it back, you see his eyes, and they are coal black with just white, that white dot on them for shine. There's no color. It's really a creepy figure if you look at him at just the right angle. It's the Joker. I mean, this is the bad Joker, not the criminal or the other version. This is the bad Joker. It's really cool. So that's my number 2.
You just made my shutter finger itch.
It's an awesome figure. That one is. You can play with the angles with that one for a long while. This one right here is my number 1 for last year, and it's the Man-Bat figure. It's not because I'm crazy over Man-Bat. I'm just the sculpt, the paint, the design, the size, everything about this guy it's amazing. If you get a chance to see one in the store, pick it up and look at it. This is an amazingly done figure. It's just absolutely amazing, and it's scaled really well with the rest of the 7-inch figures. Like I said, if you get a chance, just pick one up and look at it. It's absolutely an amazing figure. You can appreciate it even if you're not a DC or even a Batman fan. It's just amazing, absolutely amazing figure. They really nailed this one. I saw one in New Jersey late summer, and I was in the process of going home to see my mom, so I just could not spare the money to buy it, and I was actually afraid that I wouldn't be able to get one. But they actually are pretty plentiful in stores. You see them quite often. I'm surprised that they don't sell better. Maybe it's the $40 price point. I don't know. Maybe it's because it scares the crap out of kids, because I wouldn't really call this one kid friendly. It's pretty vicious. But yeah, that's my number 1 for 2022. Is that Man-Bat figure. Honorable mentions. And you know what? This one, if you mentioned this before, and it's something that they do. If this figure right here was more figure than statue, and it didn't come with a Catwoman. I put that in there because I've always loved the dynamic between the two of them. This is a McFarlane figure based on cover art that he did for year 2. 30 years ago now. If this was more action figure than statue, this would have been in my top 4. But it's just a statue. There's a figure underneath here, but it's really not. It has no posable value whatsoever unless you take him out of that cape, put the cloth cape on it, and then he looks like a modern Superpowers figure, to be perfectly honest with you.
Have you seen the new Hush Batman that's coming out this year?
Yes.
When I get that in person, if it looks as good as the pictures, then yeah, it'll be coming home with me because it looks like classic Batman. So that
whole series of figures, and believe it or not, it's the Catwoman that I've got questions on. This figure that I have here was a DC Direct figure from the Hush storyline from a while back. She's perfect. That's the perfect Catwoman. The one that I've seen in the future release, she's got a pretty face, but it's not Selena Kyle's face. Does that make sense to you guys? She's always been drawn a certain way, and I mean, it's not, the face just doesn't do it. It's not Selena Kyle. It's not Catwoman. But yeah, that Hush Batman, yeah, that's a keeper. That one that's going to be a great figure. I wanted to do a couple of honorable mentions, and I have to say, if I'd have been able to get one, that the Zartan that came out last year, was it the Comic-Con exclusive with all the accessories?
Yeah.
That one I really wanted. He would have easily been in my top 5 if I'd have gotten him, but I wasn't able to get one, and I'm not sure I ever will at the prices they want for him. I would have put that Zartan in my top 5, I think, without even seeing it.
Well, they're releasing the figure in the retro line this year.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's basically the same figure. So.
Yeah, but those accessories and stuff, that was the seller on that one for me. But like I said, for accessories, I'm not going to spend $100 for a series of accessories, because that's basically what you're talking about doing. Excuse me.
Well, the color changes too, right?
What's that?
It color changes also.
Yes. So
I mean, that's another reason. I've got one of those from Total Nostalgia. I think
cool.
I give them $60 for it, maybe.
That was a good deal.
and they may have another. When I got that one, they had two of them, I believe.
I'll have to check with him because I did want that one. That one he would have been in my top 10 list. I dug her out the other day, actually more by accident than anything. This is an old DC Direct Wonder Woman figure. She is one of my all-time favorite figures, even though I'm not a huge Wonder Woman fan. I don't know who did this because DC Direct never used to credit any of their sculptors or even the company that was producing them. This thing right here is the absolute perfect Wonder Woman figure. It's I don't care what era you're a fan of or not even a fan at all. You look at this figure and it's absolutely amazing. She's got a lot of articulation. It's just one of my all-time favorite figures.
No doubt who she is.
There's no doubt who this is, right? And I mean, the face is beautiful. The build is perfect. The proportions are normal. You know what I mean? This is one of my all-time favorite figures, right here. And again, wow, this figure's got to be coming up on 20 years old. They just did a fantastic job with her. I want to do a shout out on that 00 Snake Eyes. I did have one, and I will tell you, as far as a package goes, that is the most beautiful toy packaging I have ever seen in my life. That thing is absolutely spectacular. The figure, it's Snake Eyes, right? The accessories, it's Snake Eyes accessories. That box, all that embossing and everything else on that box, that has got to be the most beautiful toy packaging I have ever seen.
I agree.
That would be, if I still had one, just because of the packaging, he would have probably been my number one. Not because of the figure, not even because of Snake Eyes, because that packaging was just if they were ever going to kick off a line, there wasn't a better way to do it than that 00 Snake Eyes. That thing is amazing. Someday I will have another one of those. Yeah, exactly. That inner package is just absolutely amazing. Fantastic stuff. And I will tell you guys my all-time favorite figure, and it's one of those ones that I don't have, and it was actually total nostalgia. Threw one up on Facebook not too long ago, just before Christmas actually, and my grandson freaked right out when he saw it. Is the Shogun Warriors Godzilla?
Godzilla with that tongue.
You know what? I had Mazinga, and I had, what was the red one? Star something. I had 3 of the robots as a kid because, believe it or not, those were cheap to buy. You could go to Montgomery Ward and buy those really cheap.
Really?
I had Godzilla, and I loved Godzilla as a kid. I still love Godzilla to this day. That Shogun Warriors Godzilla was my all-time favorite toy, hands down. That hard plastic thing that was almost as tall as me with the stupid wheels in its feet, and the flicking tongue and the fist that knock your brother's eye right out of his skull. Yeah, I used to sleep with mine, believe it or not, guys. I loved that toy so much. That is hands down.
Kid friendly here, Dave. For kid friendly.
That is my all-time favorite action figure.
I had the robots. I had the robots as a kid, but yeah, the Godzilla was like a grail.
The Rodan was even worse, and I've seen a Rodan as an adult. I never saw one as a kid. But that Godzilla was one of my all-time favorite toys as a child. And yeah, if I could get another one, I might someday. But I think they had that one at like $450, and that's too much for me right now. But yeah, that's my top 10 plus some. That's my all-time greatest action figure is that Godzilla Shogun Warrior. fantastic. I think hopefully nothing happened. Probably just let memory lapse, but we do not have a guest. So this was a lot of fun, actually. Top 10s are hard to do, aren't they?
Yeah.
To keep it at 10. And I think last year, like I said before, I think last year was a phenomenal year. I really do. Last year was a big year. I don't know. I agree with Rick. It was too early as a top 10 for the future because we got nothing. I mean, we got some rumors and we got a whole lot of impatient waiting, but we really haven't. I don't think we've even scratched the surface for what the toy companies have planned for next year. Classified, I have to tell you, I was really disappointed. The 40th anniversary was a real flop, if you ask me. I thought Hasbro was going to really pull out all the stops. I didn't see it.
They definitely struck out on that one.
Yeah, and I think it may have been Rick. We were talking about this the other day. If you don't count the repacks that are coming on the cards, the Walmart exclusives, but you count everything else, Classified's coming up on its 100th figure.
It is. And
we should be hearing something about that. The 100th Classified figure should be a big deal. But I got to tell you guys, we haven't heard, like I said, we haven't heard from that team in months at this point. And that's a little bothersome to me. They're not really keeping us informed the way I was kind of hoping they would.
I wonder if it had to do with the fact that it took them so long to get the figures out this year, and maybe they got so much negative feedback from it. They said, well, maybe we'll wait until it gets closer and they actually have them on the water before they start announcing them. I don't know.
John, you may very well be right, because I think a lot of the release dates we were given were way overestimated, because I don't think they knew what was going to happen with all that stuff sitting out in the Pacific Ocean. And maybe you're right. Maybe they're just gun shy, because in that aspect, 2022 was a disaster.
Mm-hmm.
But
it was on my wallet. I know that.
Oh, boy,
right there at the end, those last 3 months. I mean, it was hit after hit.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you. I'm still not caught up on that last 3 months, because it wasn't just Hasbro that got 18 months worth of product in 5 months time. McFarlane did it. The Jurassic World did it. It was just bad. You just had to pick and choose like everybody else. And of course, getting sucked back into the original Joe stuff. Well, not the vehicles, anyways. This year, plus the 25th anniversary figures. It's been, it was a heavy year.
Well, I know we still got a lot of people in a lot of groups pushing because they want Hasbro to start to reignite that O-ring line, everything. I'm like, I know we got cool vehicles with O-rings and that size and stuff, but I don't think I'll go back down that road if
No, I've not either.
I buy everything Cobra Commander. If it's Cobra Commander, I don't care if it's 9 feet tall or what. I'm going to buy it because that's my favorite character out of the whole thing. But so I like to have the Cobra Commander. So I bought those 3 inch, 3/4, all that stuff. But as far as the rest, I still have most all the original. I don't know why I want to buy all that other again. So
for me, I don't.
The 25th style kind of spoiled me after. I mean, I wouldn't trade anything for my vintage G.I. Joes. I love them, but the 25th style, it's hard to go back to O-ring after getting those.
I love those. What everybody calls the 4-inch Joes. The sculpt, the articulation. That was even before I was doing pictures. I was like G.I. Joes, and run across. Yeah, the first bunch, the 25th anniversary, you had some major problems, especially with the weapons and blah blah blah. Because I still free my toys. I have toys on the shelf, a little picket sign saying "Free the toys, free the toys." Toys lives matters. Yeah, it's. But yeah, I've got to hold my plastic now. I got to hold my plastic. So yeah. Later years, I'm a little bit more like Dave and Shane. I'll buy two, one to put away because sometimes the artwork on that stuff and the Snake Eyes, that's not even that 00. That's not even on the level of toys, man. That embossing on stuff, the artwork stuff. Man, that's like somebody just they made it.
Even the piece of artwork they give you in this box, it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean, it is just amazing. I pulled it out right here. I mean, look at that. That is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
almost frame it hanging on the wall material right there.
It's amazing.
I know people have had those. I know people that have had that back tattooed to their back.
Oh yeah, that is amazing.
So
yeah, I mean that the kickoff of the classified line with that packaging is just absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
I can't read Chinese, but I'm pretty sure that says badass on it.
Yeah.
If I had to say my voice, what it'd say. So that is an amazing piece.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that is definitely the greatest piece of packaging I have ever seen. I've seen a lot of packages over the years, and that thing is amazing.
Actually, Shane, I think that says "Don't eat the silica packet in the box."
I ain't got one of those. Wonder where mine went.
That's funny.
But I think the Snake Eyes that come with the timber is the best Snake Eyes they put out.
The Commando.
Yeah, the look wise, I think that's the best in my opinion.
Yep, that's a good figure.
The main release I had swapped with 00. To me, that's my favorite Snake Eyes. I'm not, because the vintage one that's coming out, we released the card ones. That's going to be the Commando Snake Eyes, and that's impressive. And that's I'll have to have that because Commando Snake Eyes is my Snake Eyes.
That's a
repack. All that stuff. So that and the new more vintage style Storm Shadow, everything. So
that's a good figure too.
But yeah, we used to talk about Gung Ho. If there was a figure in that line that looked like you just blew up the small one, just made it bigger. It literally looks like it just walked out of the 80s. Other than the tattoo,
Yep.
I was just happy he didn't look like Chuck Liddell anymore.
or one of the Village People.
I mean, think about it. That first Gung Ho we got looked like Chuck Liddell on the face.
It did. Yep.
I mean, if you're going to get somebody to play Gung Ho in a movie, it's got to be Chuck Liddell.
I can see that. I was a big Chuck Liddell fan, so I can see that. I'd support that.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that would be funny. I don't even want to think about getting the movie. Every time I do, I just get depressed.
Yeah, exactly.
We got a couple minutes left. Let's
make a good G.I. Joe movie. It's printing money. If you make you're printing money. Especially if you do it while all us old farts are still around.
Right.
How
about we do this for the last few minutes? Three unannounced classified figures that you'd like to see at least announced this year. What do you think? No ideas?
I definitely want Steeler.
Yep.
And I think somebody asked that on one of the other boards. I put for Cobra. I would really like to see the Crimson Asp from the convention set. The
That'd be cool.
You know, I just thought it would be a really cool figure, and there's not that many female figures in the Joe Cobra line, so you know.
Right.
Well, we know what Shane's going to say. He wants some dreadnoughts.
I agree.
Anything
There has
dreadnought.
to be more.
There's got to be more dreadnoughts coming out.
Who are we getting? Ripper?
Ripper and Torch. No
Torch has been announced?
Buzzsaw.
Yeah,
I
we
think
need
Ripper
more
Buzzsaw they
dreadnoughts.
announced.
I think those are almost
yeah.
a guarantee. I think.
Row Pig, Naugahyde.
No, guys.
No, I got high.
Oh man, he was awesome, dude. Don't laugh at Naugahyde.
I want airtight. I want sci-fi,
That's a good one.
and I want Cobra Eels.
Mm-hmm. I think we will see Eels with the announcement Torpedo.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
Yep. I want to see a new dial tone. Just because the tech side, it would be interesting to see what they do with him. Because the technology has changed a lot since we saw a dial tone figure.
True.
Or even a mainframe.
Yeah. Mainframe just come with a cell phone now.
Well, yeah, exactly, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, mainframe, because of the Marine Corps connection, I'd do a mainframe.
Yeah, this
What
girl.
do they call him now? What did they call him? 5th anniversary?
The what?
He's not mainframe anymore. They had to change the name for
Data frame.
Yeah.
data
frame.
Yes. Yeah.
No data frame.
I still don't understand that, but
I didn't get that one. Somebody owns mainframe apparently. It's kind of weird.
Stupid.
Um,
What about something Cobra Law?
no.
I have to admit,
I want to see Pythona.
I have to admit, a deluxe Nemesis Enforcer would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we got a Sergeant Slaughter and I can do
he would need to be a little bigger though.
Yeah, big deluxe with the wing.
Yeah.
Something about the size of one of those McFarlane pictures.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I like the size of the man bat.
Yeah. Or if you've seen NECA's gargoyle line,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
that would be the wingspan and all that kind of stuff. You'd really have to pull that off.
That would
I'd come out of pocket for that. So, in fact, they could do that as for a HasLab thing. They could give us Galabulus in his little pod, Nemesis Enforcer, and then the tiers could be the Royal Guards, Pythona. Not to get all that set. I mean, I think people would.
They would. Yeah, I would.
And I actually thought them re-releasing the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought for sure we would see something like that soon.
Me too.
Yeah, and we still might. Because let's say, it still was a messed up year. 2022 was still messed up. It may happen.
Oh, bad.
Come San Diego maybe or something.
I tell you that the transforming Cobra Commander where he's half his uniform's gone and it's reptilian.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of people asking for that figure.
Yeah.
On the other groups.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of the Cobra Commander, I wouldn't mind having an armored Cobra Commander.
No.
Oh yeah.
That would be good one too.
Yeah. I mean, they've been all in the cartoons and everything. So
yeah. And you could do, come with extra head for Fred, with Fred 7 head to reenact the comic,
That's why I got the Marvel Legends Quasar figure, because that head, I know it looks like Robert Redford, but it looks like comic versions of the Freds.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, I do. I'd like to see dial tone. I'd like to see eels, and I think you're right. Where Torpedo's been announced, we're going to get that.
Oh yeah, I believe so.
And I'm not going to waste a pick on Dreadnoks because we know they're coming. That is a series of characters that is going to have to be finished. They started it; they're going to have to finish it.
And after the last Punisher bike thing, that they could put them in a set with motorcycles.
Exactly.
Easy. They've already got the mold.
Yep, exactly. Yep. And I'm not sure if he's been announced or not, but I want a good low light. And I mean a good sniper low light. If they want to redo somebody, you know what? Give me a low light in his original black with the red infrared goggles and a ghillie suit, and I'll give you a lot of money.
Well, they'll probably release them as the Mad Marauder first, so then you buy them, and then they, like I was talking about with the Tiger with Bazooka and stuff, because that way you buy the first one, the special thing, and then you buy the regular before, because you know if they would just release regular Bazooka when they put out these Tiger for just not many people would buy them. You know,
what do you make of this tracker figure? I honestly, I had to look him
too
up.
early.
I don't understand that choice at all. I have to say, I really don't understand that choice.
He was kind of at the tail end of the 4-inch line too. I mean, he was
Tracker, which one? With the
Shadow Tracker.
He looks like a predator.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I have a personal opinion about it. So, you know, but yeah, I have no need for it or use for it.
No, I hate to say it. That might be one of the few that I pass on. I just don't. I don't see the point in that.
He will be definitely one I just buy to keep in box and not open, because
I do think if we're going to go more because I know on the website they've got, you know, some of the figures from the Spy Troops and the Valor versus Venom. But I wouldn't really mind seeing a Cobra Claws. I think it would make a pretty cool 6-inch figure.
Or even a Hit and Run or Bullhorn. Those would be two great figures to release too.
And I want a Lifeline.
Oh yeah, definitely a Lifeline and a Doc.
Yeah, and I'm surprised we ain't already got a Doc. I mean,
I think they might. I think if we get a Doc, I'll say it. It might be a little risky to say it, but I suspect if we see a Doc, we're going to see the gender swap Doc. We will see.
I hope not.
I think they'd leave Lifeline alone, but I think we might see the gender swap Doc from the more modern, the IDW comics. That's just a guess that I have. And then maybe a classic Doc later on.
Then they'd just give us another peg warmer. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And when these female poppers come out, they'll start warming the pegs too. Female characters sell slow. They always
do. They always have.
Yeah, they always have. Yeah. The Lady J in the box was bad enough. This one on the card is just.
You should short pack them. I mean, we don't
have to.
You know, because we all buy them because we want to buy them because they're members of the thing.
Right.
But we're not going to army build them, and people aren't going to walk by them and go, "Oh, wow, that's a Lady J." You know, I thought about getting my granddaughter one. She's not into all this stuff, but I thought female figure, she could play with it. She has no interest in it and stuff. So I'm like, you know, so 11-year-old just has no interest in that. So.
And now they're just figures that are messing with the inventory numbers that we don't get reordered and we don't get the new stuff in.
Yep.
And that's frustrating. I remember years ago collecting Star Wars. There was a big push on the forums, and I mean a long time ago, back around 97, 98. There were a lot of peg warmers back in a lot of those waves back then. And there was a push for guys to go out and to buy them just to clear the inventory of the store so we could get new product.
Yeah.
And there were guys that did that. They went out and bought, you know, everybody agreed they'd go to the store, buy 2 or 3 figures that they already had 2 or 3 of, and just to clear the inventories. And believe it or not, it worked. But it was, I think it probably drove a lot of guys out of collecting because by the time stuff came in, they still hadn't paid for what they bought last time.
Yeah, I've managed retail for 20 years. The computer reorders when things are sold.
Right, exactly.
If it thinks your pegs are full, it's not going to reorder them.
That's right.
And you don't get nothing.
Nope.
So that's why we didn't have no Black Series for a long time. We're not getting no. I mean, that's maybe why we never got gung ho on the peg or anything like that, because Lady J and Baroness have been there the whole time.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it don't make sense to me because everyone was complaining because they didn't get a Baroness with the coil cycle, but now the pegs are full of them and no one's buying them.
Well, everybody got one, but when you get a case of 12 out, no one's going to buy 12 figures of, you know.
I understand that, but the same 12 are still sitting there. And I know people that complained the whole time in this area that they didn't get one.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Then these are hanging on the shelves at every Walmart you walk into.
Yep.
And like John said, there's like been a run and change in it, because the belly section, I noticed that the other day with the 400 at my Walmart, that it's smooth. It doesn't have the seam in it and stuff like that. So I know they push certain things because of agendas, but you know, it's like in the end, Hasbro should be wanting to make money,
right?
And you want to get, if those were gung ho's, it wouldn't be there.
Exactly.
If those were Destros, it might have been a little late, but they'd not been there.
Exactly.
Well, even the repack gung ho's that come with the bats and stuff, I don't see any of them on the page.
Well, no, people bought them because you can take the pieces off of them.
Yeah, they bought them for the accessories. Yeah.
I never really saw gung ho the first round he come out. I saw it once or twice, and that was it. And then
I saw multiple waves of them here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they even the first line of Scarlet came out. People weren't really happy with the paint job on her and all that kind of stuff. Then they re-released her, and she sold pretty well too.
Yes.
She was slow, but she sold better. But they just put too much out. It's like you can love tacos, but you don't want someone force feeding you tacos and how much you like them. And that's kind of what it is. It's like, well, we'll just saturate this. I'm like, well, then no one's going to buy them. And that's just not G.I. Joe's. That's about everything. That's why a lot of McFarlane figures sit up, because they'll send a lot of figures at one time. That takes forever to sell. And by the time the new stuff's got, well, we done bought it from Amazon or something like that. So,
or direct, you can buy direct from McFarlane shop.
Yeah,
you can buy the whole pack. You can buy the whole wave. A lot of those figures that are hard to find, you just buy the wave.
Yeah.
So, which I suppose is a good way of keeping lines alive and not being 100% dependent on retailers that don't want to sell through their inventory. But boy, you kind of get to a point where, is there enough online traffic to support keeping some of these lines alive just by online sales? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, Hasbro had that DTC line years back, and they actually made some great characters, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of a shame they're not keeping up with all that too. Then they came out with the Valor versus Venom and all that stuff. Most of all that was, Hasbro, you had to order online, so because you didn't really find it. So I hate that their figures from there. I know a lot of people didn't like that, but there was some creativity to some of those characters.
Yeah, there was.
Everything else in good story, but by the time it hit, G.I. Joe was just fizzling. It's like handing. It's like giving Batman to a 12-year-old to start writing. It's Batman, and at first people will buy it, but then it's like, well, this just don't feel like Batman anymore.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
I think because if you notice, like you said, it was fizzling out, and then they come out with the 25th style, but they were the classic Joes.
Yeah.
And that breathed a whole new life in it. But then shortly after that, the Rise of Cobra come out. So then you started getting the Rise of Cobra figures, the Pursuit of Cobra, which there were some really nice figures in those waves.
Yeah.
But what drove it was the classic figures with a classic look. And I believe if they'd have stuck to that and kept going with it, they would have done a lot more. But
because they think kids are buying these toys.
Yeah. And I don't understand that the toy companies still are clinging to that fairy tale that kids are buying these toys. They're not.
Not at all.
No, they're not.
There's nothing for them to grab a hold of it with.
Well,
if you want to sell toys to a kid, market it for them. Cartoons, things like that for the kids. They're not doing that.
And it's harder to do that now because, well, like me, I got Netflix and Hulu. I don't have Amazon Prime. I don't have Paramount. I don't have, and a lot of people only have one or two streaming services. So it's hard to get a cartoon out that everybody's going to see now. Back when we were kids, there were only 3 channels to watch. So it was real easy to market to get the whole group because
those channels still exist.
But I think that's what stops the cartoons and things from really driving it, because a lot of kids, they may not have Netflix, they may have Disney Plus or something, so they don't see like the new Masters of the Universe, or they don't see, the other shows on the other networks and all, because they don't have those streaming services.
Right.
Supposedly, there is an animated G.I. Joe series that's been in the works for over a year. There's also a AAA video game in the works, because Hasbro has actually started its own studio to produce and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the terminology, but AAA games are like the high-end stuff. Call of Duty, Batman Arkham games, Assassin's Creed. Those are AAA games. Those are the big, expansive, realistic, open world games. Now, that's what Hasbro has said, that there is an animated series in the works, and that there is they have their own studio. It's in one of the Carolinas to develop a AAA game. Now, if we get media to support the toy lines, then you can start talking about kids buying toys again. But without a media backup, it's not going to happen. We have all the media in our heads, right? It's all our memories. That's all of our media that's driving this. Right. Kids don't have that.
Well, if you look, the first classified figures were based off that video game that come out.
They were.
Around it. And I think they thought that was going to drive it.
That game sucked, by the way.
That game was horrible.
I have it. I'm like, really?
I do too.
But what happened because about a year ago they were talking about a Lady J series on HBO Max, or one of those. Whatever happened to that? I never heard anything else.
I think when the Snake Eyes movie tanked, that's what happened to that one.
They asked. I really wish they would dive into television. I mean, Star Wars is really running off the series now instead of the movies.
And they're terrible.
I watched like 2 or 3 episodes of that Andor. Is that what it's called?
I didn't touch it.
I just could not get into it.
No, it's not the same, guys. And some of that's just us. This stuff isn't written for us anymore. And that's something that I've been struggling with is, I want what things used to be. But the fact of the matter is this stuff is not written for us anymore. Why? We pick up a book, we pick up a comic, we pick up a movie, we pick up a TV show. We're watching the same story that we've seen at least 10 times over the years. You see what I'm saying? At least a premise or, the MacGuffin's the same or whatever. It's the same recycled stuff from our perspective. But I really came to the conclusion not too long ago, believe it or not, that the reason I'm struggling so bad with it is because it's not written for me. It's written for people that have not seen it 10 times. It's written for people that don't have the memory of what character X was for decades. It's just not written for us anymore. The stupid part of that is we're still the ones that are spending all the money, but this stuff is not being produced for us, except G.I. Joe Classified line is a perfect example of this. If there was ever a toy line that was made specifically for adults, it's that. Other than, like John said, that first wave of figures was based on that video game, the laser guns and the electric guns and all of that stuff. That was that video game 100%. After that first wave, it's been us, 100% us. It's us guys that have been. There isn't a child anywhere that's buying classified figures.
No, the ones I know that have them, their parents got them so they could introduce them to G.I. Joe.
Exactly.
So.
I didn't tell this story, but it's the truth. And now is as good a time as any. We went to, just before Christmas time, the weekend before Christmas weekend, we went to the Target over here in Trussville. Now, there was a bunch of Jefferson County deputies.
For a second. do we want to still broadcast, or we want to just talk
Well,
amongst?
yeah, I'll finish the story.
Okay, go ahead.
A minute, and then we'll get out of here. We'll get everybody off. There were Birmingham cops over there, and there were Jefferson County deputies that were there with big brothers and big sisters, and they were walking the toy aisles with these kids. A couple of cops each had a kid, right? And these kids, my wife overheard them. These kids had around $400 to spend for Christmas, which is fantastic, right? Most of the detectives that were there were my age, so we're chatting back and forth, and making our comments and everything else. And the guy walked, but the deputy walked. The kid was in front of him, and he walked by one of the end caps, and it was when there were Outbacks there, and it was a GI Joe end cap, the Python Patrol stuff and everything else. The guy said, "Hey, GI Joe, I love that stuff when I was a kid," and the kid said, "Who?" Right?
That's it.
And the cop looked at me, and I just looked at him, and we both shook our heads, and they went around the corner, and they were headed off towards Minecraft or Halo Land or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was it in a nutshell right there. Is that kid, 8, 9 years old, saying, "Who?" Right? He didn't say, "Look, Python Patrol Bats," or, Python Patrol Viper. He didn't say, "Hey, look, it's Outback." He said, "Hey, look, GI Joe." And the kid said, "Who?"
Mm-hmm.
So there it is, folks. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. So I guess in closing, we can actually be thankful for, even with its ups and even with its downs, at least in classified, we actually have a toy line that is being marketed to us, and it's being made for us. That's my belief specifically about classified. That's all ours. That's our generation. We own that. And I think, to Hasbro's chagrin, so to speak, they know it. They know we own that one. And hopefully 2023 reflects that.
Hopefully so.
You guys did a fantastic job tonight, all of you.
You as well.
We thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to all of our members and visitors from who knows where. This was a great episode. Stick with us, because it's only going to get better once we get into the swing of things. We're going to find our groove. And
next time we won't be broadcasting during the championship ball game either. So
wow,
we'll probably get more viewers next time. I messaged a few of them, saying, "Hey, we're going live at 7." I said, "The championship game's on, don't you?"
That came up earlier, yeah. But hey, you know what? We will. Are we looking at Mondays as a permanent fixture, or are we still in flux with that?
No, because I work every other Monday.
Okay.
So next Monday night I'll be at work.
Okay. So to the audience, stick with us. We will get a night or two set in stone. We all have lives too. We all have families. We all have jobs. We all have everything else that all the other grown-ups have. So except we have a bunch of toys. So.
Well, at least Shane does. Shane has all the toys.
Oh, Shane has all the toys.
Shane has all the toys.
Free those toys, Shane. Set those toys free, Shane. All right, audience, thank you very much. That is your weekly. That is your weekly briefing. Comments are welcome. Suggestions are welcome. You can keep the mean comments. We don't need a whole lot of those. We're married. We have those already. So, and we'll see you in a week or so. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Happy toy hunting.
Later, guys.